All right, y'all, let's work on one of the most fundamental patterns for rope flow, which is going to be your underhand race and chase. All right, so we already talked about how to measure your rope and how to get yourself set up for the proper rope length. So what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you take your rope. I want you to have both knots in an underhand grip, and you're gonna make the OK sign with your right hand. So I want the rope in your right hand, both knots in your right hand. Whenever we're doing rope flow, the goal is really to move the rope with our body weight, with our core, and have it really be a part of our body. But what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you start off segmentally, moving just the wrist, the elbow, the shoulder, and then taking it into the full pattern, because I want you to take away from this how I want you to do it and how I want you to feel, but also what it shouldn't feel like and what it feels like when it's not efficient or when it's not connected or when it just doesn't really feel like you're flowing and you more feel like a robot. So we're gonna get a little robotic at the start here. Hold on to it loose enough so that the rope can spin inside your fingers, and you're just gonna start trying to move it back, okay, as if I'm kicking rocks at you with the rope. So right now I'm just spinning it with my wrist, okay? Again, there's nothing crazy about this. We're just getting used to which direction the rope is going. Now what I want you to do is start to get your elbow and your arm into it a little bit, okay? Loosen up through the shoulder and the chest. Okay, so now the whole system is moving. If I hold on to this too tight, I'll be more than likely to over grip my forearm and get a little fatigue in my forearm that I don't really need, right? So I'm trying to be as loose as I can without letting go of the rope. I'm gonna pick back up and I'm gonna start swinging with my arm again. And now I really wanna start to turn with my hips and my shoulders so that my hips and my shoulders are matching where the rope is going. So if the rope is going back, my hips and shoulders are going back. If the rope is going down, my hips and shoulders are going down, okay? And then now I'm gonna start transferring the rope from side to side, side to side. Now this is when we really start to get into it, okay? So I'm still just using one hand here, all right? But what I want you to do is I want you to go where the rope is going. So if the rope is going on my right side, so is my body weight. If the rope is going on my left side, so is my body weight, okay? A big thing to take away from rope flow is your weight shift, okay? Whenever I'm walking, I have my weight on one foot. Whenever I'm swinging a baseball bat, my weight is mostly on my back leg till it transfers. Golf swing is the same thing. Everything in your life, as far as movement is concerned, is about having balance and a controlled weight shift. So this rope is a great tool to be able to give you that. And the underhand pattern is the pattern most related to gait and most related to movement when it comes to running and things like that. So really try to get into that side to side. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my left hand. Okay, switch to my left hand. So we're not doing the full race and chase yet. We're working on that pattern. This is a piece of it, but I'm just doing one hand at a time. Okay, what I want you to really feel here is not only am I doing my weight shift, but I'm also bending into that hip. Okay, I'm bending into that hip and then coming out of it, bending, coming out, bending, coming out, bending, coming out. What that's doing is that's allowing me to coil. All right, that's going to be a term that you hear 1,000 times in the next couple of weeks and over the course of your training program. What that does is that allows me to really utilize my core and then load my hips into the ground so that I can explode off the ground and transfer into a jump or a throw or my next step on my run. Okay, what I'm gonna have you do now is we're gonna get into the actual race and chase. So now we have the weight shift, so I can even pick up my opposite foot, and we have the coil, so I'm bending into each side. I'm gonna go ahead and take one knot and put it in my right hand, so I have one in my right and one in my left. And now I could do this, and sometimes I do, I'll be honest with you, go to the backyard, have a good little time for like 20, 30, 40 minutes and just really work on how my spine moves and how easy I can make this feel, because I could stay locked in here like a robot and move this whole thing with my arms, or my arms could just be a part of what my legs and my shoulders are doing, okay? That's really the point of this tool here, is to give you outside feedback of how efficient your movement is and how coordinated your movement is, okay? So now that you have your weight shift and you have your coil, so that coil again is hitting that side bend position into each hip. You have your weight shift going from side to side. Now, I'm not just pushing and swinging the rope up as it comes forward. I'm also pulling back with that opposite arm. So what I want you to do here, I'm gonna turn to the side so you can see me, is I want you to take the opposite hand and start to pull back a little bit. Okay? And I'm not just trying to pull back with my arm, I'm trying to pull back with my chest, as if I'm gonna go run and go in that direction. Okay? Pulling back with the arm. Pulling back with the arm. Good. And the arm is actually being moved by the chest and by the core. Now, if I can put the push and the pull together, then it turns more into a figure 8 where I'm using both sides of my body, both the front side to push and the back side to pull at the same time, right? That's that concept of both sides utilized. That's that concept of yin and yang, if you will, right? It's the push and the pull that makes me efficient. I have to accomplish a task here. I have to move this rope in this pattern. Now, the more efficient I can do that, the more efficiently I can do that, the easier my movement becomes, the easier this exercise becomes, and the more I can transfer that into everything else that I do. Which goes to my last point here, guys, I really want you to focus on is being loose. So if my hands are death gripping the ends of this rope, then that's gonna transfer up to my shoulders and into my core. And before you know it, I'm just moving my arms like this again. So I want my hands to be loose and turning up and down in that figure 8 motion with the rope, with my body, and with my hips and everything that I'm doing here, okay? So this is my race and my chase. One hand's chasing the other one's racing away from it. You can get really funky with this. You can start to go forward and backward with some weight shifts. You can change your feet, okay? You can alternate your steps. You can start to move as if you're getting a little more creative and a little bit more athletic with it. You can go for some more speed, okay? You can go really slow and work on your balance, right? So the underhand race and chase is an excellent pattern to get used to rope flow, to get used to the idea of moving this perhaps awkward implement for a little while and getting into your body and starting to explore new ranges of motion and get some different kind of feelings going with your exercise and stuff. So again, guys, for the underhand race and chase, I really want you to focus on your weight shift, making sure that you're really loading that hip and getting into a nice tight coil position, that you got a solid push and pull at the same time so that it's your whole body working to contribute towards the movement, and you're staying loose. Loose in the jaw, loose in the neck, loose in the shoulders, loose in the grip, so that you can start moving a little bit more fluidly and more powerfully, right? So the underhand race and chase is a great pattern to get into and even go out into the backyard for 10, 15, 20 minutes and just move your body and try to become more efficient and more connected. All right, guys, underhand race and chase.